T. Have you ever heard a story so grand, so tragic, it feels more like a legend than history? Today, we're diving deep into the tale of the Titanic, a ship that was more than just a vessel. It was a symbol of an era. Our story begins in Belfast, Ireland, at the massive Harland and Wolff shipyard. Imagine the scene. Thousands of workers, the clang of steel, the roar of furnaces. They weren't just building a ship. They were crafting a floating palace, the largest man-made moving object of its time. The RMS Titanic was one of 3 Olympic-class liners, designed to be the pinnacle of luxury, comfort, and, it was believed, safety. For over 2 years, this giant took shape, a testament to human ambition and industrial might. Finally, on May 31, 1911, the world watched in awe as the enormous hull, still an empty shell without its iconic funnels or lavish interiors, slid gracefully into the River Lagan. It was a spectacle of engineering, a moment of immense pride, but the real work was just beginning. Over the next year, the ship was fitted out, transforming it into the marvel everyone was waiting for. Fast forward to April 10, 1912. The air in Southampton, England, is buzzing with excitement. Crowds have gathered to witness the start of the Titanic's maiden voyage. This isn't just a ship setting sail. It's a floating city embarking on its first transatlantic crossing. On board, society is a perfect mirror of the Edwardian era. In first class, you have some of the wealthiest people in the world, figures like John Jacob Astor and Benjamin Guggenheim. They're surrounded by opulence, a grand staircase, a swimming pool, Turkish baths, and gourmet restaurants. Their journey is one of leisure and luxury. Meanwhile, down in third class, the atmosphere is entirely different. It's filled with hopeful emigrants from across Europe, families who have poured their life savings into a one-way ticket to America. For them, the Titanic isn't a floating hotel, it's a vessel of dreams, their passage to a new life full of opportunity. Their quarters are simple, but clean and far better than on most other ships of the day. There's a sense of community, a shared anticipation for the future that awaits them across the ocean. From Southampton, the Titanic makes a brief stop in Cherbourg, France, to pick up more passengers, its lights twinkling against the night sky. Then, it's on to its final stop in Europe, Queenstown, now Cove, in Ireland. Here, more passengers, mostly from third class, climb aboard. As the ship pulls away from the Irish coast and heads into the vast, open Atlantic, no one on board could possibly imagine the fate that lay ahead. The first few days are smooth and uneventful. The sea is calm, the weather is fine, and the great ship powers through the water, a masterpiece in motion. But as the voyage progresses, a subtle danger begins to emerge. On Sunday, April 14th, the ship's wireless operators start receiving messages from other vessels. Their warnings, mentions of icebergs and large fields of ice floating in the shipping lanes ahead. Throughout the day, these warnings become more frequent and more specific. However, in the bustling environment of the ship, with operators busy sending personal telegrams for the wealthy passengers, not all of these crucial warnings reach the bridge and the captain. The ship continued to speed through the dark, icy waters, maintaining its course. The night was unusually calm and moonless, making it incredibly difficult to spot dangers on the horizon. The water was like a sheet of black glass, with no waves breaking against the base of an iceberg to give it away. Then, at 11:40 p.m., a lookout in the crow's nest named Frederick Fleet spots something. A shape, darker than the night sky, looms directly ahead. He frantically rings the warning bell 3 times and phones the bridge, shouting the chilling words, "Iceberg, right ahead, star." The officers on the bridge react instantly. An order is given to turn the ship and reverse the engines, a desperate maneuver to avoid a head-on collision. But the Titanic is too large, moving too fast. There isn't enough time. The ship grazes the iceberg along its starboard side, a seemingly minor impact. Many passengers didn't even feel it. Some described it as a slight shudder, a gentle vibration. But below the waterline, the damage was catastrophic. The iceberg had punched and torn a series of holes along the hull, breaching 5 of the ship's 16 watertight compartments. Initially, there was no widespread panic. The ship was, after all, considered unsinkable. But for the ship's designer, Thomas Andrews, who was on board, a quick inspection of the damage revealed the grim reality. He calculated that with 5 compartments flooded, the ship was doomed. The mathematical certainty was that it would sink, and it would happen within a couple of hours. The captain, Edward Smith, now faced an impossible situation. The ship that could not sink was sinking, and there were not enough lifeboats for everyone on board. Distress calls were sent out. The Marconi wireless operators Jack Phillips and Harold Bride tapping out CQD and the new SOS signal into the freezing night air. A desperate plea for help in the middle of the empty ocean. What followed was a slow, surreal, and ultimately chaotic evacuation. The order was given for women and children to board the lifeboats first. But confusion, disbelief, and a lack of organization hampered the process. In the beginning, many lifeboats were launched only partially full. Passengers were hesitant to leave the seeming safety of the massive, well-lit deck for a small boat in the dark, cold sea. The ship's band famously played on, trying to keep spirits up, their music a strange, calming soundtrack to the unfolding disaster. As the ship's bow dipped further into the water and the angle of the deck became steeper, the urgency and terror escalated. Families were separated in the chaos. The stark reality of the lifeboat shortage became horrifyingly clear. There was only space for about half of the 2,200 people on board. At around 2:20 a.m. on April 15th, the great ship's final moments arrived. The lights flickered and went out, plunging everything into darkness. The stern rose high out of the water, and with a series of thunderous roars, the Titanic broke in two and disappeared beneath the waves. Over 1,500 people were left in the freezing water, their cries for help echoing across the silent ocean before slowly fading away. It was a scene of unimaginable horror. Hours later, the RMS Carpathia, which had raced through the ice fields at full speed after receiving the distress call, arrived on the scene. Its crew could only rescue the 705 survivors huddled in the lifeboats. The news of the disaster sent shockwaves around the world. How could the unsinkable ship have sunk? The tragedy led to major maritime safety reforms, including the requirement for all ships to carry enough lifeboats for everyone on board, and the establishment of the International Ice Patrol. For decades, the Titanic lay undisturbed, a silent tomb 2.5 miles beneath the surface of the Atlantic. Then, in 1985, a team led by Dr. Robert Ballard finally discovered the wreck. The images they brought back were haunting. The majestic bow, the debris field, personal items scattered across the ocean floor. The discovery revived the world's fascination with the ship and its story. The legacy of the Titanic endures today, not just as a shipwreck, but as a powerful story of human ambition, class division, heroism, and immense loss. It serves as a humbling reminder of our relationship with nature and technology. Third, the story of every single soul on board, from the richest to the poorest, continues to captivate us, ensuring that the ship of dreams will never be forgotten. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this journey into the past as fascinating as I did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into history's most compelling stories. See you next time.